I bought this Audi TT to flip and make a profit. In full working order, I should get around £2,500 to £3,000 for this car. And after getting it for only £1,000, negotiating down from £1,200, I'm in a good place to make a lot of money from this car. As usual, there's a few issues that need fixing before I can sell it and get that profit. And the first thing I want to try and sort, so I've got an engine check light on, which I've diagnosed as the downstream O2 sensor. So I'm going to swap out this sensor now. I've broken it.
Sammy, you are wrecking the car! Shut up!
So, after making the car worse, I headed off to Albus the cat's house to fix this engine check light. I knew it was this because I scanned the car's ECU with this code reader and it told me why the light was on. So, onto jacking the car up, unplugging the sensor and cracking it off. Also, this video is sponsored by HelloFresh, but more on that later.
Oh, get in!
And just like that, the sensor was off.
I think I've found the issue, Will. This is what it should look like. And that's the one that just came out.
It's safe to say we definitely had a faulty sensor here, so on goes the new one and I routed the cable through the clips to keep it tidy and had Will start the car just to be sure the exhaust wasn't leaking. Then off for a test drive to see if the light had cleared.
It does stink though. That'll just be the exhaust leak, won't it?
It does stink.
Did you hear that pop then?
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's fucking leaking its nut off. You can hear it like next to my ear.
Check lights come back on. That sounds cool, but I'm scared of something setting on fire.
I changed the lambda sensor, now I've got a code for another one. A really bad exhaust leak has developed.
You can definitely tell the exhaust leak is coming from the turbo area.
So I'm hoping that that's not a cracked manifold. Getting manifold bolts out are horrible, so I'm hoping, I don't know why, I'm hoping some bolts have backed off or it's just a gasket or something. I've got all the service parts with me. I'm heading over to Will's now. From the boost gauge, it's running about 22 PSI and stock is about 10. So it's definitely been mapped.
Embarrassing!
It was time to give the TT a good service and fingers crossed some new spark plugs and coil packs will sort this misfire right out.
It really hurt. Smashing my head on the concrete.
So I knocked my last brain cell out and then drained the old oil from the sump and then got the most awkward oil filter I've ever seen out and replaced it with a new one after priming it with oil. This makes sure you get oil pressure as soon as possible when starting the car after the service. Then filling the engine with oil and rolling the car off the ramps to make sure it's sat on a flat surface to get an accurate oil reading, and it was perfect. Next, it's removing some vacuum pipes and fittings to reveal the coil plaques that we need to remove and the spark plugs underneath them. Replace the spark plugs and
let's get these new coil packs in.
these just push onto the spark plugs and plug back into the HT leads, really simple. And that is everything.
All the coil packs are in. Moment of truth. Let's see if it starts misfiring again.
That sounds way better.
Yes! So there is no misfire. Thank God. It's not a more serious issue. Way different from the Touareg where it's actually going right, but now I'm gonna take it for a drive, go grab some ramp, see if it's hitting full boost and full power, running right, and try and see where the exhaust is blowing. Let's see if it's making full power. You actually cannot get a human in the back.
Oh, it's running way
so much smoother, yeah.
Oh yeah, that's a lot better.
Yeah, it's instant spinner, so in the dry as well. So we've got it back, we've got it on the ramps now. I don't know if it came across on that drive, but I am absolutely buzzing. Like, this thing is so quick. It was spinning wheels at like 50 miles per hour, like it is quick. It's running absolutely perfectly, obviously, except from that exhaust leak, which I'm gonna try and sort now, but yeah. I'm so happy, finally something went right.
So it's time for something to go wrong. I tried using my battery-powered mouth-operated smoke tester to blow smoke into the exhaust and see where it came out, but it wasn't successful, so I headed home.
Hey honey buns, what's for tea?
Hey babe, we just need to find a recipe and then go to the shops and get the ingredients and then come back and weigh it all out and cook some food and yeah, what do you fancy?
Oh, fuck. Hey, honey buns, what's for tea?
Oh, hey, babe. We've already chose these recipes, so we can just choose one of these. HelloFresh already sent all of the ingredients to us, already pre-weighed out, so we just need to make one of those. And some of them we can make in 15 minutes if you're in a rush.
And using HelloFresh is how I've freed up more time
To edit my YouTube videos.
and do the stuff that I enjoy.
So save time yourself by scanning the QR code on screen, using the link in the description, or using the code 60JoshS for 60% off your first order and 25% off your next 2 months, plus free gifts.
I've just got back from a stag do, so ignore the voice, but it is time to get this car sorted and find this exhaust leak and fix it. But first, I've got to take some things out of the way so I can get better access to the exhaust.
This intake pipe needs to come off with a few Jubilee clips on either side, the same with these small vacuum pipes off either side, then the heat shield and elbow induction pipe comes off, and that's when I found something rather suspicious. This is a bolt hole with no bolt in it. This should hold the manifold to the turbo. It's safe to say I've found the exhaust leak.
I'm going to take the other bolt out right next to it, measure that, hope it's the same one, get another bolt and jam it, see if that works. But again, it's so weird that that bolt is missing because I can't see it working itself out and flying out. Maybe if when it was misfiring there was detonation in the manifold and that bolt was loose and it just fired it out. I don't know, but let's get this bolt in and hope that that's plugged the exhaust leak.
And with the magic of editing, you don't have to wait for postage. I paid £25 for 3 bolts off eBay. Let's get them in.
Now, despite the smile, I'm actually so worried about putting this bolt in because I spoke to an Audi specialist, explained I was missing a bolt. Did he have one? He said no, but he was like, is it the one on the left hand side by any chance? He said they're really common for coming out and taking the threads with them out of the turbo, so then it's a way bigger job. So I'm just hoping that this bolt is actually going to thread on, tighten up and completely seal that blowing exhaust. Oh phew, it's threading in. Oh, thank God.
And to make sure the car runs correctly, I fitted everything back as it should before testing.
So for some reason I'm so scared to try this, but everything's back where it should be. Let's see if it blows. There is no blow. It sounds perfect. This car is running mechanically amazingly, and it's the first time I've heard the exhaust, pretty much since I bought it, come out of the back of the car. Listen to this. I could not be happier. Let's get this fuel gauge sorted, clean it, and then sell it. The fuel gauge has got a mind of its own, but I'm going to start it again now. It's been off for a little bit, so we'll see what it registers at.
Because it should be at a quarter of a tank.
Over halfway. Oh, now it's just flopped to a full tank. So I've read a few things online. First thing I'm going to try is the cheapest thing, which is free, and remove the fuel gauge fuse out. Start the ignition, turn the ignition off, pop the fuses back in, and hopefully that might sort it. So I actually just pulled the wrong one out. It's actually this one. I didn't film it because I'm an idiot, but I took out the instrument cluster fuse, started it, the fuel gauge went to just above, well, around a quarter, and then turning it back on now, it shows a quarter of a tank, so I think that might be sorted. I'm gonna go put some fuel in it. So I've just put 25 quid's worth of fuel in because I'm scared. 17.5 litres, let's see what happens. Please work. Well, that's not very good, is it? God damn! It can never be the easy option, can it? It's fairly easy to get the fuel sender out, so I'm going to take the back seat out, get into the fuel unit sender, have a look at the fuel sender, see if it's dirty, if it needs cleaning or anything like that, and then decide what to do from there.
And nothing looked dirty or broken with the sender unit, so I decided to use a multimeter on both senders to check the resistance when moving the sensor arm up and down, and again, nothing seemed wrong with them at all. So the resistance changed as it should as the sensor moved, but I plugged in the code reader and found this.
Voltage.
Fuel level sensor open circuit short to B+. Vehicle voltage terminal 30, voltage supply too low.
So that is an earth then, I think.
Yeah.
But I think it's behind the dash, which might mean taking the whole dash apart just to tighten an earth bolt or find some broken wiring.
And because I knew the fuel pump was grounded correctly, just to test if it was the ground, I connected the fuel pump ground to the fuel gauge ground to see if that fixed the issue temporarily with some awful wiring.
So I hate to be defeated, but I added an extra earth into the fuel sender circuit and it still didn't fix the fuel gauge issue. I know it's not on the dash, that's been replaced, so there's no pixelation, which is a common issue on these cars. But with me moving house in about 2 weeks, I don't have the time. I need to get this car gone. So I'm gonna have to sell it with a dodgy fuel gauge, which is gonna lose me some money, but there's nothing I can really do, to be honest, without taking the dash apart and seeing if the dash is the right model, because they changed in 2002. So without taking the whole dash apart and checking that, I can't really diagnose the problem. And I almost forgot the rear registration lamps aren't working. I think it needs some soldering, but I'm going to sort that now.
As you can see, where the wire has been bent too sharply, it's split, and the light was going on and off whilst driving along. That means it's an MOT fail and potentially getting pulled over by the police. So I chopped the broken bit of wire off, stripped the insulation off and twisted the copper, then folded it back onto itself before pushing it into the new plug and crimping it to be secure.
And now the wiring on that side's fixed. I've got some LED lights to replace them with because they're really dim, so I'll swap these out now. There we go, look at that.
And there we have it, the car is legal to drive at night again. And because it was glued on when I removed it, I had to add some silicone to give it a waterproof seal and clamp it up to set overnight.
And now all that's fixed, it's time to give this car a good detail and machine polish.
As usual, I start cleaning the wheels first with a pH neutral wheel cleaner and fallout remover, and then onto snow foam and using a soft brush in the cracks and crevices to clean the spots most people miss. This makes a huge difference when people come to view the car, as it looks well looked after and almost new. Then a gentle hand wash before drying everything down. The links to all the products and tools are in the video description, and if you use them I get a small commission on what you buy, which really helps me buy more cars and filming equipment to get better, more interesting videos out for you guys and with cooler cars.
Oh, spraying it straight into the camera. And after cleaning it, it doesn't actually look that bad, so we're just going to go ahead and do a hand polish and then do a ceramic coating over the top.
Straight away, this car looked incredible after a simple hand polish.
And with that, we are almost done. We've hand polished it, done the tyre shine, give it all a good clean. I've just realised I've run out of ceramic coating, so I'm going to give it a ceramic spray-on sealant just to lock in that polish and give it a bit of protection for the next few months. We'll also give it that nice hydrophobic action, so if it's raining, it'll look really beady and really good. Next, we'll do the glass cleaning.
Which is super simple, just spray the window cleaner onto the glass and get the dirt off with a cloth. Then use a clean microfiber to wipe away the residue of the glass cleaner and any last dirt. And it's time to take some photos of the exterior of the TT.
And with that, the exterior photos are done. The car is looking perfect. And so it doesn't need too much, luckily, on the inside, but I'm going to give it a good old hoover, wipe down all the surfaces, and then get this car up for sale. I think I'm going to list it for $2,700. I don't think I'll get that, but I'm really hoping for about £2,500, which will leave me about £1,000 profit, which obviously would be really good.
Now it's really important to make sure the interior of the car is completely clean and as mark free as possible, because when someone comes to view the car, they want to be getting into somewhere nice, not a car covered in dog hairs, old bogies and the evidence of your last date at McDonald's. So make sure you wipe everything properly and use the products in the description. Now that's done, let's wait for a buyer.
The Audi is finally sold. So with all the costs, obviously £1,000 for the car, £133 for the insurance, £103 for the tax, the bolts for the exhaust manifold were 25 quid, the O2 sensor was £27.95, the coil packs were £99, the bulbs for the rear reg lights were £15.99, spark plugs were £24.36, oil £46.99, oil filter, £8.59. So the entire spend was £1,485.50. So I listed the car for £2,700. Didn't think I'd get that, but I had to take a deal really quick because I was actually moving house in a few weeks and needed to get the car sold because I couldn't take the car with me to the new house. So after not having an offer for a few days, I moved the price down to £2,500 and finally got a message. Now, like I said, I took a little bit less for this car than I would have wanted because I had to get it sold because I was moving house, but I still got a pretty meaty profit. It was priced for £2,500. After some negotiations, the buyer got me down to £2,050, which gave me an overall profit of £564.50. Not too bad, could have done better, but on to the next one. If you like this video, go watch this one next, and make sure you subscribe so you don't miss the next upload.